we're gonna move to the third news item, and home sales are up again this month. It's really interesting that there was a 12-month low in May, and so things have climbed for the last couple months. But if you go kind of back to October, the October 2020 high was a significant high for like back through 2008. So the places where things are, and maybe rather than just me draw the thing with my hands, I'll actually share the let me share the slide here. So this is home sales over the last decade. So let's make it a little bar column. This looks easier. So you can see that this month was almost, I want to say, what's it, 600,000, so 6 million home sales last month. Other than these few months here, this number, you go back 25 years, and it's a high, going all the way back to like 2007. So, this is a pretty high watermark as far as home sales go in the U.S. And, I had some, it was sort of fascinating to me. And so I'm wondering if this trend is going to continue. So you got the remote work thing going on, and you got people who are, the Delta variant has potentially accelerated sales for the coming month. So, what the heck is going on with the home sales, and do you think it'll continue over the next year or so? Jeremy, why don't you take this one first?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that, the housing market has been pretty crazy since the pandemic started. And I think what we're dealing with now is nobody really knows for sure what the, kind of post-pandemic situation as far as remote work and all that stuff is going to be. I mean, I don't know anybody who's like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going back to the office 5 days a week. And, everybody I talk to is like, well, maybe after Labor Day, and might be part-time. And, and the Delta variant has kind of thrown all this stuff, into the air, and there's even more uncertainty than we thought we were dealing with before. So I think, of all the kind of trends we've seen during the pandemic with, e-commerce and cloud computing and Zoom and, all these things that have taken off and gotten traction, I think remote work is probably going to be the stickiest. I mean, a lot of people seem to like it. It's obviously offers benefits for, parents and other people who maybe need to check out for a few minutes during the day, or have other needs to attend. I don't think anybody really misses commuting. So, and this gives if you have the freedom to work wherever you want, you're going to take advantage of that. And so I think, the trend that COVID sparked with people moving out of high price cities and looking for more space and kind of, evaluating or balancing what, that kind of quality of life looks like is going to continue. I mean, I think another point worth mentioning is that, Airbnb and in these, vacation rental or home sharing sites have really taken off. And I mean, now your home is a sizable asset in a way it wasn't before. And if you can remote work, I mean, if you're a single person, you can just rent out your apartment or whatever for a month and go travel and do that sort of thing. So I don't, that may not be directly related to the housing market, but I think it might change the way people think of, or hey, I can buy this beach house and just rent it out when I'm not there. So, so that I think that's going to also drive the housing market as well.
Yeah, I do agree that the work from home trend, I think, is going to continue. I think that's going to be here to stay in some form. I don't know that it's going to have a huge impact in the housing market long term, though, right? I think eventually we're going to level off. Like, we're going to see these sales level off, or at least the rate of increase is going to slow in terms of price increases. A lot of what we're dealing with, we talked about this before a lot, is supply issues, right? Eventually that rectifies itself. And now it can take a time. It will take a while. We're talking about housing, right? It's not something that you can say, let me build a few more computers and we're good to go, right? I mean, it takes a while to build a house. And it takes a lot of skilled labor to build a house. That's another part of the equation. But eventually we're going to get there. You know, I'm also seeing, though, stories of increasing rents in places like New York City, like back to pre-pandemic levels and even above, right? Indicating that this whole narrative of people fleeing the cities might not be all it's cracked up to be. Just like you think back 10 years ago, people were talking about, oh, millennials don't want to own homes in the suburbs. Well, as it turned out, they did. They just couldn't afford them. And as it turns out, people do like living in cities to some extent. You know, I think back to when I lived in New York. I didn't move to New York for a job. I decided to look for a job in New York because I wanted to live there. And I wanted the career and I wanted to do the work that was done in New York, but I made a conscious decision. That's where I want to be. Let me look for a job there. Not, oh, I have this great opportunity. I guess I have to move to New York. Just because you can work from home doesn't negate the social and entertainment value of being in a particular place, right? And the lifestyle of being in that place. And if that's what you want, that's what you want, at least for a time. So I can certainly see that even if, you know, law firms and accounting firms and all kinds of offices and people within offices in New York are saying you don't have to come to the office all the time, people could say, cool, but I still want to live here. How am I going to make that happen, right? So there's, and maybe that means you have to have a bigger place or whatever, right? But I think just because we're going to see a trend toward work from home doesn't mean that there's suddenly going to be this, you know, perpetual increase in prices. Eventually it will settle out, right? And people will be where they want to be, both to live and then they'll work however they want to work, right? I mean, you're going to see a reshaking and a rethinking of things, but we'll come to an equilibrium again at some point.